In case you didn't know, it's almost getting close. In case you didn't know, it's all unraveling. Listen, man, in case you didn't know, it's almost getting close. In case you didn't know, it's all unraveling. Yeah, it's all unraveling. Hey, I would like to welcome you to the podcast. And these are your hosts. Shit, you show. Safa. And you know me. And Roshan. Shoot King.
Shalom. This is the Truth Be Told Flex podcast. Today is May 27th, the year 2021. This is episode number 13, and it is entitled Plandemic or Plandemic. What's happening, fellas? What's happening?
Shalom. Peace and light.
Right. I would first like to thank you, brothers, for being here. You know, as the world could see, we got a lot of stuff going on, but sacrifice is what's important, and we have sacrificed and we're here right now, right? So we got a lot of information that we're going to bring out as well. I do want to take a little bit of time and make a little note here. Today is 20 years married to the same lady, my beautiful wife, man. So, you know, when this show is over with, you know, I'm finna go spend some time with that lady, man. 20 years she has put up with me. All praises to the Most High for her. And, you know, I can't wait, you know, for many, many more, right?
I'm surprised you hadn't messed up yet, man.
Hey! If it weren't for this Bible, he would have messed up by now.
That's real talk. All by the grace of the Most High, because I know me. But yeah,
Congratulations.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Well, with that being said, let's get right to the show. As I said, the name of the show is Pandemic or Plandemic. And here we go. Event 201.
These epidemic events are getting more and more disruptive to health and to economy. And the reason we called it Event 201 is we knew eventually one of these days, one of those events would be the big one. And that big one would really challenge our capacity to respond. And to respond to the big one, we do need to have all hands on deck. Participants are confronted by a hypothetical scenario that presents to them the challenges of a response. So we will say, here's a hypothetical disease outbreak. This is the way it might be evolving. And these are some of the challenges that you'll see that you'll have to address to address the disruptions that you're seeing to your healthcare system or to your organization. All stakeholders realize pretty quickly just how underprepared we are and just how much is possible when we work together. And that the individual actions of any government or company won't add up to a proper global response. I think if we're honest with ourselves, collectively, the international community has never done enough to respond to global health security challenges. That we knew before COVID that the world was underprepared for biological risk. When we walked into the room in New York, if you would have asked, do you think the world is prepared for a pandemic? I think everyone around that table would have said no. But it's when they walked out, I think it's when we really knew that if we are going to get ready, we need to have operationalized and integrated public-private cooperation that we haven't seen before.
All right, fellas. Event 201, which was a dress rehearsal for COVID-19. This was in October of 2019, 2 weeks before the COVID-19 outbreak, which first began in Wuhan, China. And we're gonna talk about that a little bit more today. But this was a Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation funded event that co-hosted a pandemic preparedness simulation of the novel coronavirus. The new coronavirus. And they named it Event 201, along with Johns Hopkins Center of Health Security and the World Economic Forum. This scripted tabletop included everything. This is what we need to focus on in this segment of the show, people. This scripted tabletop included everything that has since played out in the real world, from the PPE shortages, the lockdowns, censorships, removal of civil liberties, to mandate vaccinations, campaigns, riots, economic turmoil, and breakdown of social cohesion. And the reason why I was using certain words instead of code words is because I'm reading right from their very platform as well. I'm only saying what they said, okay? So let's get to it. Who want to go first? Talk to me. Event 201.
All right. You mentioned about the founders, right? The Hopkins and the what's they call, what I don't want to call him the wrong name. I don't want to say Bill Gates of hell, but Bill Gates and he
And Melinda
with
is,
the
yeah.
at the Bloomberg's University. So you got Hopkins, Gates at the Bloomberg University. This has been founded in 1998. Now they just now going public with it, but they studies with all these things going on, and you said it causes riots, along with what they said. Excuse me, you're reading what they said causes riots. Well, let's go back to Sandy Hook. Sandy Hook should be a part of that program, because right before that Sandy Hook incident happened, it was military outside the school 2 days to a week before it happened, practicing just in case something go down inside of a school. Fast forward a week later, stuff went down at a school. The same people, swooped in, but you never see the cops or nothing on the TV show, but on the news, not TV show. I'm sorry. On the news, they come in, they swoop in, all of a sudden they there. It's like, people start realizing this seemed like it was planned to happen. They had police outside the school, monitoring the school, seeing what's going to go down. Across the street from that, then it was some SWAT teams practicing just in case they go into a school. So all that is a part of the Plan 201. So it ain't just something that they just came up with. It's been out since '98.
Con. Yashari?
Actually, when I was looking into it, I found something interesting, right? because I knew that there's no plan of action that's set in place that doesn't have some significance. And here's the case in point I'm making. You guys do realize that Melinda Gates divorced, or is currently going through a divorce from Bill Gates, right? Now, here's the thing: if you look into their divorce, any of the records that's public, it states that because of this divorce, it's removing her from any legality obligation that she would have to the company that funded this event, the vaccinations, everything that Bill is doing. She was a part of it. She was a part of funding it and helping him, get the business model off the ground. But now that she's divorced him because of the Jeffrey Epstein, situation, she has no legal binding to that situation. So if there's some clapback, if something happened, if there's an adverse effect, she's not responsible anymore. Most people is only looking on the surface of the divorce and saying, oh, what was going on in the home. It's bigger than that, right? It's always going to be bigger than that. And so one thing I realized is with the event 201, if you really get to the core of who was carrying out, what enactment of this plan, it's ironic that you'll find Melinda Gates is actually at the core of more than what her husband was involved in. But being a woman, we know women can be very cunning, they can be very crafty, they can be very deceptive. Now, that's not to take any obligation away from Bill himself because he knows exactly what's going on. But Melinda was the mastermind, and she's gonna walk away scot free. And we just looking at divorce, not realizing she's getting away from the legal responsibility that could come from an adverse effect, which is coming soon, right? And that's all I start with.
Your mic muted.
Yeah, I just unmuted it. Sorry about that. So I don't have much to say about it. I did do a little research on it, and what I ended up finding out was it's come out now that they're stating that Bill Gates, as Justin just mentioned, Yashariah just mentioned, I'm sorry, that he is now denying it, the event 201. He's denying it now.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah, he's denying that they even planned it, that this was a thing. So I wanted to bring out this scripture, John 8:44, right? To deal with this devil. It says, you are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth. So I'm gonna stop right there. So we know when we do, this research and things of that nature, we understand that whenever they say this is not, a thing, this is not true, we know it's a lie, right? We know it's
Yeah,
a lie off
yeah, they
top.
had fact checks. They had fact check. Now fact check is out saying Event 201, Bill Gates has nothing to do with it. So you hit that one because I just saw that this morning earlier
Yeah,
that Event 201 is not true and all that.
and let me finish this. And I'm glad you said that you saw it too, because now, because we're doing research and we're becoming aware of what they're trying to do. Now it's, oh well, now we got to twist the narrative now.
Oh yeah, they did that, and if you go to the main page on YouTube, they turn the comments on. You
Yeah,
can't come.
there you go. There you go. And it says here, because there's no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he's
Mhm.
speaking of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it.
Come,
Wow. So,
come.
I'm trying to.
with my closing statement, I'll turn it back over to you, Yeshua. We understand that, we know who his God is, and he's going to do exactly what his God does. He's going to be a
Right.
liar.
Con. And I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about all of that movement a while ago. I was trying to bring up their website because you said something interesting that I had no idea, Roshan, and thank you for that information that he's trying to bag out of being a part of it. This is the website of Event 201, which anybody could go find for themselves. I'm going to
Mhm.
scroll down here in the very first paragraph. It says Event 201, and I'm going to read this. It says the John Hopkins Center for Health Security in partnership with the World Economic Forum and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So I
Yeah.
had absolutely no idea that he was trying to erase himself from this event. There's no way that he can do that when his name is one of the headliners for this event that happened in October the 18th, 2019 in New York, New York, where they sat around and they simulated everything that they have been putting on us since of March of last year. Come
But
March 2020, the whole world shut down. That was rehearsed 18 months prior to that. It was in rehearsal.
they sat down at a table for 3.5 hours. You got two screens brought up on the
Okay. Okay, then.
yeah. So yeah, 3.5 hours they sat in the meeting and discussed it and talked about what needs to be done next. What's the next thing to do? So yeah,
Exactly.
this just ain't just happened. And if you go onto Wikipedia, then you'll see, when it all the creation of it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Um, it's our time to get into our music break. When we get back, we're gonna touch on this event 201 just a little bit more with a closing comment. Then we're gonna move on to the next segment of our show.
Yeah, look, doped up from birth, but that ain't phases. They made crack for the blacks because they racist. And we pray to the God who really made us. Like, why would you make us to be in cages? I don't hate you, black man, but you gotta understand, this place that I'm in is not for pretend. So, with my back against the wall, I'ma do it all so we don't starve. What my people did to me was extensive. So when you put your hand out, it's offensive. Ain't found a soul yet that can save us all. But all our souls, we can make a cause. They try to separate us so we not involved. That's like the blind trying to separate Ray from Charles. Daddy, please don't let them take me. Mama, please don't forsake me. Created diseases we take on. Take away our needs we take on. Made it hard to breathe, we take on. Cause black Superman never got a cape on. Wow.
Yo, it's hot. I ain't in right now. Please submit the beat, you know, I'm out flossing, tossing, dipping and tripping, you know what I'm saying?
Hey Hutch, man, they just raided your mama house, man. I don't know what they got, so I'm broke, man. They looking for us, man. Call me over Peach's house, man.
Right. That's that John Boy, Black Superman. That
Right?
had that
I
nothing
don't.
but that had nothing but that West Coast flavor, man. It sounded like a Dr. Dre cut.
It did. So I
Yes.
on that. Oh, that's nice.
Right, right. Now, the Harrier, to move along on that event 201, it was a few things that was in that video that I want to bring out. The first one was the guy said they wanted to be able to respond to the big one, and we needed all hands on deck. You know, no one has really, no one that I know, I'm gonna put it this way, have had a wedding without having what? Wedding rehearsals. Everybody that's going to be in the wedding, they come and they meet before the wedding, normally be a day before the wedding, and they will have a walkthrough all the way down to the flower girl. See? What Event 201 was to me was a ushering in of the reset button that they were about to put on us. And what they needed to make sure is that when he said all hands on deck, they needed to make sure that all hands were on the same page. What hands? We talking businesses, we talking governments, and we also talking healthcare. Now, this is not something that is stationary here in America as well. What we're dealing with, this is something that is happening worldwide. Every nation is being touched with this plandemic. Pandemic or plandemic? Well, when you look at October 18, 2019, it seemed like it's pretty much planned to me. I don't know about y'all, right? Look like they took the time. They spent a lot of money to come together, bring world leaders, world healthcare leaders, governments, business leaders all together and say, hey, before we turn the water off on the world, let's make sure that everybody is on the same page. We've been saying since this show has started that the pandemic is not the COVID. I'm using the words because they use it. We're not going to continue to do that, but I can use it because they use it. That's not the pandemic. The pandemic is what's in that syringe. That's what the pandemic is. So in order to coerce you or to get you to accept the pandemic, they had to turn the water and the lights off on you. That's what they had to do. And so now that the water and the lights are turned off on you, now they begging you and asking you to do what? Get back to what you love most. But the only way that we can do that is that you got to take the syringe. Event 201 was the setup to make sure that all hands were on deck. And he also said in that video, I'm going to always revert back to being blatantly, subliminally blatant. He also said in that video that before COVID hit, I don't know if you guys heard that or not, but he said that in that video. I don't know if that was a mess up on him or was he just saying, hey, they not going to catch this. But hey, 18 months before the month of March, they came together with a plan to drop this on us. Now,
Right.
as we moving along with pandemic or plandemic, right? We got to talk about something that is called gain of function. Gain of function.
Real quick, if I may.
Go
Yes,
ahead.
sir. Go ahead.
When you consider the word pandemic, right? Y'all know I'm big on words, right? Well, when you look at the root of the word, it's pan or pine in the ancient tongue. There's a god associated with there's a god called Pine, right? Or Pan. And when you look into the history of this god, this is the god known for several things, but ultimately the god of pestilences, the god of calamity, diseases, tumultuous, tumultuous situations, right? So one I want to hone in on is the god of pestilences. And then when you take the latter portion of the word, right, demic, stems from demon or demonic. The god of demonic pestilences, pandemic. Oh, okay, I digress.
Yeah. That's why I press. That's why I press mute, man. Because you hit it on the head. In the color books, they call him Loki. In the color books, yeah, Loki. And in the I'm gonna say this in the world that we in, they call him Yahweh, Yahuwah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And no, you didn't digress there, Yesharia. In fact, you brought up a really great point. Remember before the show started, I said there are certain things that I don't want to miss that I feel like I might miss. And that was one of them. Seeing that what we have here, starting with Event 201, and the reason for this show is simply to get people to understand that none of this happened by circumstances. All of this here was a game plan that they are executing. So Yeshariah just brought out the God of Pan, the God of pestilence, the God of diseases. We have a bunch of rich billionaires sitting around at a table, and guess what they're doing? They are playing God. They are playing God. And we're going to see how much they play God with this next segment of the show, which is talking about gain of function. Let's bring this next video up.
Joined Senator Ron Johnson and a handful of other senators on very specifically asks the National Institutes of Health why they were funding gain-of-function research in these Wuhan labs. Now, Dr. Fauci has been to Congress, and he said this absolutely did not happen. But Dr. Fauci is playing word games. So the money that the NIH gave went to an American organization, which turned around and gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to these Wuhan labs to investigate coronaviruses, and yes, to find ways to make them more contagious and more dangerous. And we asked Francis Collins, who is Dr. Fauci's boss, to come clean, to tell us exactly what was happening.
Gain of function. What is gain of function? Gain of function research is a term used to describe any field of medical research which alters an organism or disease in a way that increases pathogenesis, transmissibility, or host range. In layman's terms, exactly what the senator just said right there. To make diseases or viruses more contagious or more dangerous. Now, the question that I'm going to start this segue off with, gentlemen, is why in the world would anybody want to make a virus more contagious and more deadly? Yeshariah, you want to lead us off on this one, brother?
Yes, sir. So I'll take this position. When we consider the fact that, you know, this plague, as I'll call it, has a patent number, right? Anything associated with a patent number generates revenue.
Okay,
Anything, any and everything.
hold on. I got one question because I want you to keep going on this, man. So even with that you just brought out, that almost by itself negates the fact that this was a virus that jumped from animal to man. Can we say that? Because it has a patent number on it, right? You can't patent something that's in nature, right? Keep going, brother.
Con. That's spot on. You know, you can't patent, something that
Give me
grows
the
in nature
patent number
freely.
for water. What's the patent number for water?
Hey,
Con. And so it's crazy because if it has a patent number, it generates revenue. If it generates revenue, I put it like this, there's a benefit in keeping it relevant, right? If I own tennis balls, right, and I have a patent on tennis balls, if somebody came out with a more efficient ball that, does something that the tennis ball doesn't, I'm in danger of losing that revenue that I've generated because no one, like people are not going to be able to utilize the tennis ball. So now, if I'm the owner of this particular patented product, what I must do is innovate my product to keep it relevant, hence allowing it to become a more potent and a more diseases, virus, right? So if I'm able to, because remember, the end goal to all of this, to the pandemic, is what you would call population control, essentially, right? So if I was hired to usher in or to regulate that population control, and my product is not performing as it should because it's been around for a while, right? I had to innovate my product to meet the demand of those who are paying me. I need 500 million people out of here. What can this particular product do to help me get to that particular number. Okay, I'm not meeting my demand. Cool, let me innovate my product. Now some more lethal virus. Now some more potent virus. Now it's doing exactly what it was created to do. Right?
Con. Safa, what you got, brother?
God, shoot, I can just piggyback off what Yashari just said. Because what in a couple of years ago, what did they bring back? Polio? Was that polio they brought back?
Man, they
It was
got polio. They got polio right now, which is more deadly than the original polio. Right now, in a
right.
lab that college students created in a dormitory. I got the
They
information that I could bring out on it, but go ahead, man. And this is to show the audience that this can be done. We trust. Go ahead. I'm gonna be quiet because I'm gonna use that. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
they
I'm
they
sorry.
brought
I
back
apologize.
polio, and then a couple of years later, they brought back measles. You remember the measles outbreak and all this? And I used to always wonder why. I mean, if it was shut down years ago, how the heck did it make a comeback? Well, Yasharia just broke it down. Name is turn. Look, I need more people up out of here because they just interviewed Bill Gates on population. How did he feel about it? He was a sit down, and he had of course the sad story to say, but out of all in a nutshell, hey, we need to create something to meet the demand for my God to feel good. We need to do more sacrifices, bloodshed, kill to support my God needs. So yeah, they gonna bring back polio. They gonna bring back measles, and everything they bring back gonna have a cape on it. A cape on it with an S on his chest. Go ahead, up.
You are exactly right, man. And that's one of the points that I've been trying to make for the longest, starting with the show when we was talking about spike proteins and the cocktail is because what better way to get your numbers to where you want them to be than with the cocktail? We brought up in that show the profits that Pfizer and both Moderna has made in the first quarter, right? With the cocktail. So that goes to show you that they are being profitable and at the same time they're getting their numbers where they need them to be. There was nothing floating around there that was for a cause of shutting the whole world down, right? But they shut the whole world down because they knew that what was coming behind that, which was that was in the syringe, was going to be the reason that Pan was going to be able to play out, which is disease and pestilence. We are about to see a lot of people. You hearing it here on Truth Be Told Flex podcast. We are about to see a lot of people both sick and dying within the next year or so, man, because people have ignorantly believed in their government. And that's the reason of this show, to show you that the people that we put our trust in are the very people who want you dead.
Right.
That's the reason of this show, right?
Come.
Gain of function, man, where they take a least bad virus, excuse me for that word, because I probably should have been able to find something better than bad, but you still understand what I'm saying, and make it 10 times worse. The spike proteins, check this out. This is a fact. There is a doctor by the name of Ralph Barrick. You can look him up yourself. And a doctor by the name of Dr. Shi, which is the director of the Wuhan labs there in China. Together, these two jokers, these two boneheads took a virus and the spike proteins from a bat and they merged it with SARS virus, and boom, this is where we got the novel coronavirus. The virus and the spike proteins from a bat with SARS, and now we got COVID-19. And guess what they did with it? They have put it in vials of syringes that they are giving people. Spike proteins, we just did an episode on that. Go back and look at the dangers of spike proteins. They are going to latch on to people ACE2 receptors. They're going to cause blood clots, liver damage and failure, lung damage and failure. All people going to have strokes, heart attacks. Women are going to have abnormal menstrual cycles. Women who have went into menopause are going to start back spotting all types of things are going to happen. Why? Because we got to get our numbers to a certain level. This was the whole reason we did the show on spike proteins and we brought out the numbers, which was because, hey, the government paid for this. They giving it away to people. They giving it away to people. Why? Because we need you to take what is in the syringe. Gain of function. We got a couple of more videos that we want to bring out on that. Before we go into our next segment, do anybody have anything to say on that? Because we still talking about gain of function. We're not going to move from that right now.
Yeah, I mean, to make it easy on the people to understand. Okay, we got a disease in this thing. We got a disease in that thing. We're going to put them together, put it inside something to see how that thing reacts to it. We're going to keep doing it till we see how stronger and stronger and stronger, how strong it get and how fast it kills what we put it in. Okay, it's in there. It died a week earlier. Okay, now it died 2 weeks faster, 3 weeks faster. Oh, it can die a month within days. All right, then let's put it out to the people.
Con. Let's go into what's strange in the news. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Yashari.
Real quick, when it comes to the government, as we already know, they have never in the history of governing a body of people freely given something that was beneficial that didn't come with repercussion. Case in point, we have cars to get us to work, to home, or wherever we need to go. You have to have permission from your government to do so, right? License. You have hunting, fishing. You have all these different types of things that you can willingly do as long as you have the permission of the government. Now, here's the thing with the cocktail. It was issued, or it was administered as though it was some great benefit that was to be obtained, right? Now, it came with incentives. Hey, here's one stimulus check. Here's another stimulus check. All right, here's tax time. Oh, you can get an additional child tax credit. And nobody sat back and said, why are they giving us all of this? And what you'll notice is after all of those incentives were given, then their true agenda came out. Hey, come take this cocktail, or else you can't travel, you can't receive any more stimulations, you can't receive any more benefit from good old daddy, your government, if you don't comply with what it is that I want you to do. Essentially, and matter of fact, if you don't comply, instead of receiving the incentives, I'll punish you for being the black sheep. I'll punish you for taking a route that's contrary to what the masses is taking, and that punishment would be, I will seclude you, or I will alienate you from your very family, friends, and those who you love. But I don't necessarily have to force that to happen. I'll just place this spike protein in this cocktail, and once those who have complied with me have taken this, now they're a danger to you. So you're going to aid in your own alienation and your own separation. But remember, even in the Bible, there was always a separation before there was an elevation. Christ, Moses, John the Baptist, John the Revelator. You know what I'm saying? You always had a separation from the masses before they can be elevated in the spirit. And I'll digress.
Yeah, go back farther than that, man, because you said something when you said about the governor. But once you said that, don't you know, Nimrod bust me right in the head with precepts about Nimrod. He wanted to kill Abraham just so he from his and let righteousness comes in.
Exactly. The children of the Most High throughout history have always been under attack by the enemy, and that's another reason for you to understand. And I'm only talking to people who believe in the word of the Most High. It's time for you to put your actions where your mouth is at, right? If you truly believe in the Most High, I don't know, what you call him. If you call him God, if you call him Lord, if you call. We talking about the power of that book. If you really believe in him, it's time for you to really believe in him. He created something in us that is called an immune system. And we got scientists say that what they got is better than what he gave us, and he the one that created us.
Yeah, he created the sciences. We want to worship the creating more than the creator.
You see what I'm saying? Now, the Sharia hit something when he got to talking about the incentives, right? And all of these stimulus checks that they giving. That's
And
real talk. I
they
told
did
Safar, I was telling
go
Safar, I was telling
ahead.
Safar,
They did that with food stamps, man. They just sent out a whole. I was wondering why Facebook was saying sell food stamps. Anybody selling food stamps? They gave an additional more on food stamps. Man, I did not know that.
they gave it a they take your jobs away from you, then they give you money because they want to be your daddy. I want to be the one that's gonna take care of you during this time of crisis, right? Don't worry, but you lost your job. All of that money that they was giving in unemployment, people didn't want to go back to work. They were making more money on unemployment than they was when they was going to work. And they know this, right? Because why? Look at what we've been doing for you. Look at this we've been giving you. You owe us. Take this cocktail. We don't have to talk about this no more. Now look at this second thing that they're going to do. This is Yashara, triggered something.
Yeah, he did.
We got 4 minutes before we go into our next segment. It says any mandates in the U.S. to require people to be vaccinated. I'm reading the article, so I'm going to use these words until I'm told otherwise when I'm reading articles, okay? Any mandate in the U.S. to require people to be vaccinated against COVID-19 will be set at local levels by companies and institutions such as colleges, head of centers for disease control and prevention. It may very well be that local businesses, local jurisdictions will work towards vaccine mandates. CDC Director Rochelle Walensky said on NBC's Meet the Press. Let me tell you what's interesting about this. The same way they've been giving us normal people money, stimulus checks, increasing food stamps, increasing unemployment, guess what they've been doing to businesses as well? Giving them money too. So that's going to make the government not look like the bad guys. Say the government come in, you got to get the cocktail. You got to get the cocktail by the government. No, what the government going to do is turn it over to the businesses. Hey, you remember that kickback that we gave you that you don't have to pay back? This is what we want you to do with that. You mandate every employee that work for you to get that cocktail, or we going to need that kickback back. When these jobs start telling these employees that they got to get cocktailed up, it's because the government done gave them money and they have what's the word that I'm looking for? A quota that they have to meet. These companies don't care about us. The only thing they care about is the bottom line. So when the government say that it's going to be up to the businesses, well, they already know what the business is going to do. Why? Because they done padded the pockets of the businesses.
And the businesses already did something with their money. They can't give back.
They can't give it back. We're in the catch-22, baby.
Man, look, when you look at the, yep, when you look at the, like I always say, you follow the dollar, you find a culprit. Right? Even in the wars that have been generated in the earth, you'll come to terms to know that these families funded both sides of the war, and then invoked two different nations against one another to have some level of a benefit, right? To establish a banking system within these countries to ultimately cripple their economy to depend upon these particular families. It's the same type of game. It's just with a
You got
different
about 1
product.
minute, Yashara.
Instead of
Go
using,
ahead. You got about one. Go ahead.
instead of using paper notes, to do the economy, we're going to use the cocktail, make it and mandate it.
Exactly.
And if you don't do it, then you can't have certain privileges. Period.
Exactly. That's the bottom line. This is the big reset, man, and that's exactly where we at right now. Moving on in the show, and we're gonna stay here at Gain of Function because I really want to make gain of function simple enough that when the people leave here, they're going to be familiar with that term and they're going to actually really know what it is. But right now, Safi got to bring out what's strange in the news. And a couple of minutes on that, and then we're going to move on with the show. What's strange
Speaking
in
of
the news?
strange, yeah, let's go ahead and bring out this article in the science department. Tree farts contribute about a fifth of greenhouse gases from ghost forests. All right, so I'm gonna need you to scroll up. Keep going, keep going. All right, right there. Keep going. Go down, son. Go down. Go down. Go back. Yeah. Go to the beginning of it. I
Go to
want.
the
I want to.
beginning. Where
Yeah.
at?
I
Right
want.
here?
No. 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 Go. Go. Keep going up. Right there. I want to start with that first part. Yeah. This was published on May 20th, 2021 at 6 a.m. If a tree farts in the forest, does it make a sound? No, but no, but it does a smidget of greenhouse gas to the atmosphere. Slow down, you shower. Hold on. By dead trees. Now we talking about dead trees. Doug, tree farts account for roughly 1/5 of the greenhouse gases. We got Lord have mercy. We got issues with global. This is why global warming is the way it is, ladies and gentlemen, because trees are dying and farting on the way out of here. All right. So scroll up because the strange news. There we go. No, brother, you're going too fast. Go down, go down. I just want to read these paragraphs real quick. All right. A team of ecologists went sniffing for tree farts in ghost forests. Ghost forests are when a tree dies and it releases, I guess, something after, which forms when salt water from rising sea level pauses a woodland, leaving behind a marsh full of standing dead trees. These phantom ecosystems are expected to expand within climate change. They're global warming, but it is unclear exactly how they contribute to the world carbon budget. So we got a bunch of people going around and going around sniffing tree farts. This is real news. I BS you not. So scroll down and show them how they go out looking for it. As you say, see, look at that. There's a woman going around with a big old, look like a trunk attached to a tree. See, I don't know, because when a tree dies, it still stands there. It don't fall over. It stands there and release these gases. So she's just sitting there sniffing tree farts all day long. I don't know if she's recording it or on her pad. But that's what's strange in the news, ladies and gentlemen. So every time you look at a tree, know that it is farting.
That is insane. Now, this is the type of stuff that our monies be going to,
You
right?
shot, all right?
Look, we're gonna have to do a show on global warming as well, because that's part of the Plandemic that they got us on right now. That is insane, man. Tree farting. So you got people just walking around smelling tree farts, man. What you got, you shower? You got something to say before we go back to gain the function, man?
You know what's crazy about that though? Here's the thing, and this is how I see it tying into this. That story actually ties to what we're speaking about, and here's how. When a tree is alive, it goes through the process of what they call photosynthesis, releases certain carbon, molecules that we breathe in, or we call oxygen. We breathe in, it benefits the body, right? The blood or whatever have you. Now, when you have a deprivation of this oxygen, there's an adverse effect in the body, right? When you deprive your body of oxygen, all of your I'm gonna use your bones for an example. They leach from other parts of your body to try to maintain an alkaline state within your body to keep you alive, to keep your pH balance alkaline. Here's the thing: when a tree dies, say it again.
I was asking, does it do it because of the marrow? Does it go try to find something outside it, like a hormonal thing, or what is it?
So it's just it's like a survival mechanism. The Most High just put it into our body's instincts to, if you're in a state of dying, if you're deprived of a nutrient or anything, if you notice, like pregnant women, they eat powder or ice, right? It's because that's what their body is needing to supply the baby with what it needs. right? So just like they do that, our body does the same. Now, here's the thing: when a tree dies, it releases those gaseous fumes that you're referencing. But here's the thing: the only thing that those gases, the only substance that gas that's being released from that tree is unused oxygen. That's all it is. So there's no way that it could proliferate
Man,
a global warming. It
ain't
can't
a
do
how
it.
you ain't a how you ain't a how you great, man. First thing about global warming, we are going to get to a show on global warming coming up for sure, because global warming is a farce. You got to first believe that we are on a globe to believe in global warming. Then secondly, you got to believe, look, if I created something, if I made this cup, right? I own this cup, which means that
Right.
I can do with this cup what I want to do. I believe without a shadow of a doubt that the Most High created the heavens, the earth, and the sea. Three different things. What they telling us is that we are destroying it and that we are on pace of destroying something that we did not create. The word tell us that he created this thing and he gonna end this thing, man. So all of that
Right.
that bull that they giving us, man, these are the people. And the reason I like that strange in the news, because these are the same people who trying to tell us that C-19 jumped from a bat into humans. And now this is what the state that we're in right now, man. Welcome back, Roshan. Welcome back. I got a video. We running at the end of the show, but I do have a video I want to bring up before we end this thing, man.
Done.
Check this one out.
But that's for another day. So how is it that scientists give viruses new functions? How does this actual research work? Well, one involves these mutant mice that one of our viewers was asking about earlier. So I've got a picture of the mutant mouse with an ear on his back. But one of the ways is called serial passage experiments. And we can do these in human cell cultures, or we can do them in humanized animal models. Now, we don't actually grow ears on mice's backs to do these. It's not ears that we use, but we actually use the same type of mouse that was used in that ear experiment. A lot of people were confused with that ear experiment back when it was published. They thought that scientists had edited the mouse's genes so that the mouse would grow a human ear. That's not what happened. What they did is they edited the mouse's genes. They knocked out the genes that it used to control its own immune system. So that type of mouse does not have an immune system. And because it doesn't have an immune system, you can grow all sorts of things inside of it. In this case, they grew a human ear by, they used cartilage actually from cows, and they used a scaffolding that it was complicated, but the mouse's DNA is not coding for that ear. The only thing they did genetically to the mouse is they knocked out its immune system. But the only thing they did genetically to the mouse is they knocked out its immune system. But the only thing they did genetically to the mouse is they knocked out its immune system. But genetically to the mouse is they knocked out its immune system. But we used that same type of mouse, and we actually put human lung tissue in these mice's skin. And that allows them to be pretty good models for how it is that a particular type of virus will spread in a human lung. Believe it or not, it actually works as a fairly good model for the human lung by just putting a chunk of lung tissue underneath the skin of a mouse that doesn't have an immune system.
That was not a skip record there. I repeated that so that you can get the gist of what he was saying. These same people who's telling you that the novel hangover that is out there are the same people who have learned from their gods how to take away your immune system. Do you really want to trust what they're giving you in this syringe? They took the mouse's ability to have an immune system and they implanted a lung tissue in the mouse with the spike proteins of a respiratory virus to see what effect that it would have on it. What do you think that they are doing to us? We got 6 minutes. We can go over because I want everybody to have their share time. I want to bring this out, and then I'm turning it over to the floor. The novel Hangover C-19 is a weapon of war, and it was funded with our money, our tax monies, the monies that we give the government. It was funded. The United States government granted the NIH, which is the National Institute of Health, money, and the NIH and Dr. Fauci took that money and gave it to the Wuhan, China laboratories, who is known for and still is conducting gain-of-function researches where they take viruses from animals and they make them more contagious and more dangerous. I was just telling you about Dr. Ralph Barrick and Dr. Shi, how they took spike proteins from a virus in a bat, matched it with SARS, and boom, we got the novel problem that we have right now. You just heard for yourself how they knocked out the immune system of a rat, and the joker started growing an ear. What you got, fellas?
They put a daggum lung tissue inside of it, and they grew to be a shape of an ear. That was a lung we was looking at, ladies and gentlemen. That was a lung on the back of a human lung on the back of a rat that they knocked out the immune system. Now, later on in the video, he tells you we did a more experience on other ones and knocked out the pain receptors, the nerves inside of certain animals, and we injected. Man, say that's the reason why in the scriptures where the scripture says the animals are waiting for us to return back because they've been tortured as well as we are. Man, this is crazy, man. That lab and Fauci, that's him doing all this. He started with the Reagan administration. Obama told him to stop. Trump told him to stop. So he moved his stuff from out of here to Wuhan and started doing this. Started doing all this crazy stuff, causing these different type of spikes with viruses, adding this and adding that together. Okay, that's not working. Let's keep the formula going. Let's keep doing this. Let's keep trying that. And now we got, would you imagine in New York, a bunch of rats with ears on their back running around? Go ahead, Yashari.
Well, it's crazy because what they did to the mouse, they did the same process they've been doing to us. They just expedited it for the sake of their experiment. Here's what I mean. When you look at what causes the human body, well, the immune system of the human body to be depreciated, Wi-Fi routers that's left on overnight, the radiation emission from the Wi-Fi routers, cell phones, 5G towers, right, and smart meters. If you notice on the construct of a home, most smart meters are right outside the master bedroom or right beside the living room. Strategic, right? Smart meters give off radiation, which in cahoots with your Wi-Fi modem, which most people have, and your cell phone, which most people have, is continuously and constantly and persistently demeaning your immune system. So that now when they roll out stuff like the cocktail, you've already been undermined through your own acceptance of these devices in your home. Now, remember, everything that destroys you, they'll solicit it to you as some level of a convenience or a benefit. So you'll willingly take it and you're depreciating your immune system. So again, once the cocktail come out, you are already drunk and you ain't had nothing but a sip.
Just still, and then there are protections from those smart meters that you can't get to cover up the smart meters, block out stuff, but you still got them routers and cell phones in your house. So yeah, you still your brain and your body still getting microwaved, sort of say. Mr. Judah, what's going on?
Well, the only thing that I have to say is to the people who may be watching, the audience, uh, it's one thing for us to say stuff out of our mouths, uh, And when we say things and we bring forth the knowledge of what's going on in this world and stuff like that, the first thing that's said is, "Oh, that's ludicrous," or "I don't believe that, y'all reaching," and stuff like that. But I'm saying that to say it's one thing to say it, but for us to show it,
Come.
I hope this is making a difference for someone who may be, always think that somebody is an extremist or, trying to go too deep. I hope that this is an eye opener for those type of our brothers and sisters, and that's really all I have to say. Because it's one thing to say it, but to see it with your own eyes from a different perspective and from a credible source. Hey,
Yeah, now the blood is on your hand. Now the blood is on your hand if you're going to decide to go. And anything that we have shown and brought out according to the Spirit of the Most High, our praises to Him for giving us the ability to bring it out. So we showing y'all what's going on, and if it's up to you to sit there in front of people and go along with people.
yeah,
Exactly. And I want to add as well that we are going to have a part two of Pandemic or Plandemic because we haven't even really scratched the surface on this information, guys. There is so much more information that needs to be brought out because it's important. If you guys will mute your mics for a minute, if you don't mind for a second. But it's important that the people understand that these people are that we put our trust in. It's in Isaiah, Jeremiah, where the Most High was like upset with the children of Israel because instead of turning to him for help, they went to Pharaoh and asked Pharaoh to give them help from the Babylonian army. And he was like, okay, you asked for Pharaoh? Okay, I'm going to show you what it's like. And that's the same thing it is right now. When you see quote unquote Christians say that they went and got the cocktail and then they gonna put it in God's hand. Ha 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 ha. Proverbs 1. He's laughing at your calamity. I'm going to be real honest with you, man. Because if you believed in him, you're going to believe in the immune system that he gave you. You are not going to take some synthetic immunity that they say that they have, which you have absolutely no idea what they got in it, and put that in your temple, in your body, and say that you good. It don't work like that. It does not work like that.
and that's a tough pill to swallow. That's a tough pill to swallow to feel like you think that you're doing the right thing for the sake of your temple, for the sake of your your life, and to not know that you're not even in good standards with the Most High because you're not believing on Him because you're trusting in something else. That's a tough pill to swallow, man.
That's a very tough pill to swallow, Mr. Roshan, and a great point that you brought out there, man, because the thing is that David made a point, man. David said, 1,000 may fall at my left and 10,000 may fall at my right, but it shall not come nigh unto me. That's the point. We have got to have that exact same mind state today. I'm hosting this show, Truth Be Told Flex Podcast. I am not going to sit here and tell somebody that I'm not going to catch it, right? I'm not going to die from it. I'm not going to tell you that. But what I am going to tell you is that all of my faith is in the Most High higher. So much to the point that I told my wife, and that she was sure she could validate it. I said, hey, you might want to get prepared to live out in the wilderness. Because the first time these jobs say that you got to take this cocktail or you going to lose your job, I'm walking out that very day. I don't know how bills going to get paid. I don't know how food going to get put on the table. But what I do know is that I am not going to let fear force me into a decision that I do not want to take. And I'm not taking a cocktail.
Hey,
Closing out on this show. Closing out on this. Go ahead, Roshan. Go ahead, brother.
Because I like what you said. You said you don't know how. You do know how. The Most High, he said, I'm going to save those and those. In that same self time, I'm going to deliver those. I'm going to feed those.
Exactly.
So on and so forth.
Exactly. We saw him do it with Elijah, right? He told him to go to the brook, and he stayed there till it dried up. Ravens brought him food. When that ran out, he told him to go to a Gentile. He said that Gentile gonna have food there for you, and she gonna share that food with you, man. And that Gentile baby died, and through Elijah, Ahia showed that Gentile who he was by bringing that baby back to life, man. You tell me that my power won't do it. I know who my power is, and I trust in my power, and I'm gonna trust in my power. We're gonna have to end this show though, but I want to end it with this. One of the things, I see you, brother. One of the things that they told us is that this was a virus. This is why we got to come back and do a part 2, right? We're going to pick up right where we left off. This was a virus that jumped from animal to man. They investigated every animal that was in the wet markets in Wuhan, China, and not one animal was found with COVID-19 that would have been able to, for that virus to jump from animal to man. So that's debunked. The second thing that we know is that 3 individual scientists in the labs in Wuhan, where they have this thing controlled, that supposedly got so sick that they had to be hospitalized. What did they get sick with? You got it, COVID-19. I was messing with you, Safa, when I said that. They were sick with COVID-19. So if the animals are knocked out, but the scientists inside of the laboratory get sick with it, you draw the conclusion. Where did it originate from? Where did it originate from? Episode number 14 is going to be the conclusion of gain of function. We can't end it like this here. We got to bring out the rest of this information, or more information on this that we can. I want to thank my fellas, Ak Yesharia, Ak Roshan Judah, and Ak Safa for spending time with me today. We'll be back at the same time next Thursday. We got some shows coming up with guests as well. A sister by the name of Sister Delta, along with Yapa Q. They're going to sit down with us in some shows that's coming up. We also have a medical young lady that knows, she's in more into the holistic deal, right? Alkaline in your body. She's going to come on the show as well. She's going to partake some knowledge with us. And I just learned not long ago that our co-host Yesharia, he is also into the holistic building up your immunity. So he is also going to bring us some knowledge as well, right? So here you got it. This is the Face of Truth Be Told Flex podcast. Get used to seeing these faces right there. This is we are the ones that's going to be putting in the work to be bringing it to the people. And we only doing this for the people who got ears that can hear and eyes that can see. With that being said, what they got to do, Roshan? Your mic muted, brother.
I have to unmute.
What the people need to do, Roshan?
Subscribe to our channel.
Yeah.
Exactly. His mic was a little low, but the brother said subscribe to the podcast. I'm going to also make this a note as well. Once you subscribe and you hit that bell like this here, once you do this here, also hit that thumbs up or the thumbs down. It really don't matter to us. Just hit one of them. And also leave us a comment as well. That will help this show grow. That will help this show reach more people who will be interested in the content that we are subscribing. I'm looking at the views, and I'm looking at the comments and the thumbs, and they're not matching. We got this many views and we got these many comments. So we want to try to get that thing balanced out. If we could get that balanced out, that'll help this show out a whole lot. With that being said, we're going to bring you out with the theme song. Shalom until next week. Gain of Function Part 2 for episode 14. We out of here.
Present meeting.
In case you didn't know, it's almost close. In case you didn't know, it's unraveling. Listen in case you didn't know, it's almost getting close. In case you know me.